Hello, how are you? Welcome to Igbo Queer and Unfiltered Podcast. My name is Charles Okeke. Hope you've had a wonderful week. Thank you so much for being here. I had a wonderful week, and then I had a situation that was very, very weird. Homophobia keeps following me on some of these social media platforms. And I think that some of these people tend to report my posts when I post them. And then TikTok will now act in a way that is extremely wayward and higgy and haga. I made a particular post on TikTok a few days ago. And this post was with me and my man. His face was not really there. We were not naked. It was not sexual. There is nothing wrong with this post whatsoever. And TikTok took it down and said, eligible for recommendation. I appealed. They approved it. Within a minute of approval, it went off again. This happened that I went back and forth with them by text, by chatting to them on the app and whatever. Eventually, the next day, it came up. They said to me that it was going to take like 7 days for their tickets to get sorted. This is wild to me. It's now there, okay? But the thing is, there's a lot of African people, some Nigerian people who are always saying to me that I need to repent, that why do they even have a phone? What is this? And I do not understand the obsession with gay men if you are not someone that is gay. A lot of these people say all the nonsense they say, thinking that if they come and insult me and write all of these things, it is going to absolve them of being homosexuals. My dear, I can see a gay man from afar. Some of you are struggling with internalized homophobia. You need to make peace with yourself. I do not understand this. If you don't like somebody, if something makes you uncomfortable, what do? You scroll past or you say, I'm not interested. And a lot of these people will come and say to me, oh, can you block me? Why do I have to block you? Is it that some of you don't have common sense and you don't know how to block somebody? It does not make any sense to me. This is why I'm talking about shame today. Shame this week, shame on this episode, because a lot of these people think that you should be ashamed of who you are, that they will shame you. By shaming you, you won't be able to live your life. A lot of the times, because of this, a lot of us are not able to say, oh, I had sex with somebody. I slept with so many men or so many women. I like this particular thing in the bedroom, or this is what I like. I like to dress like this. I like to make my hair like this. Oh, I'm a man and I love to wear nail polish. I'm a man and I like to wear skirts. I'm a woman and I like to wear men clothes. They will shame you for all of these things because they are not fucking happy with themselves. Shame usually comes from the belief that something about you is fundamentally wrong or unacceptable. The root is not just an emotion. It is a learned internal judgment about the self. And this is psychologically and socially. Shame tends to arise from a few sources that happens to us from when we were children, from when we were fucking children. It happens. And the thing is that a lot of us actually do not know and are not aware that this happened to us. And it's something that we just tend to be like, why? I feel uncomfortable about this. One of them is early social conditioning. Shame mostly learned in childhood. That's when you learn it. The number of times I have been around people who have said things to their children that doesn't make any sense to me. And I will be like, why are you doing this to this child? You are somehow restricting the child. You are somehow making them broken without realizing it. Children absorb messages from their parents, religion, school, culture, and the community. You learn from every fucking thing around you. When a child repeatedly hears messages like, this is wrong, good people don't do that, you should be ashamed, they begin to attach those judgments to themselves. Over time, the brain internalizes it as, if I'm this way, I'm a bad person. If I'm like this, I am bad. Looking back and where I grew up in Kano and some of the things that were said to us as children, I totally understand why some of the things I am uncomfortable with is the way it is today. I have said this so many times that I am reparenting myself on a daily basis. Fear of rejection or exclusion is part of shame. We as humans, we evolve in so many ways, in our tribes, in our culture, in so many things. Being rejected by the group, which is your culture, historically, it can mean danger to you, or you feel like you don't matter. Sometimes it can feel to people as if they are dead somehow on the inside. So the brain developed shame as a signal that says to you that something about you might cause these people to reject you. And because of this, if you do not hide those things that you think are shameful, then they will reject you. I don't know if this is making sense to you. This is why shame often shows up when we fear things like social judgment, humiliation, loss of belonging, and things like that. And then there's this whole thing about cultural and moral rules. Every culture defines what is acceptable. Like my people, Igbo people, my dear, I am not acceptable according to some of them. Charles is going to hellfire. Homosexuality is not accepted. Therefore, you are not part of this community. Don't you ever say that you are an Igbo person, because this is shameful. This is not what happens in our society, in our culture. Does that make any sense? Because this is absolutely what happens in most of our societies. When a person's identity or behavior falls outside of those norms, shame can develop because society frames the difference as immoral, sinful, dishonorable, embarrassing. This is why shame often appears around things like sexuality. I am gay. I am a shame to my society. I am shameful. I should be ashamed of myself. Gender roles. This is why sometimes when they see you as a gay man and you are with a man, they'll be like, who is the woman and who is the man? They shame you that you're doing what women do and things like this. Religion and family expectations. Family expectations is the one where it is crazy. I have been a subject of this. I have two brothers. The way I have been compared with and to my brothers is absolutely crazy. And even to some of my cousins and some people that I went to school with, they will tell you, oh, that person did that. Are you not ashamed? That person got married and they have children. Are you not ashamed? You should be having your own children. They expect you to outdo everybody. Then you hear things like, does that person have two heads? Are you not ashamed that you are gay? Will you not have children? When are you going to build this mansion and build that? Mind you, the people that are telling you all of these things are fucking useless. And you know the thing that really I'm working on myself as well is the most powerful form of shame, which is internalized shame. Because at some point, the external voice becomes an internal voice. Because you've been hearing some of these things from people every freaking time. You begin to feel like, oh, this is true. This is my truth. This is my truth. You begin to be shameful of yourself. All of a sudden, you are not proud of who you are. You think you are wrong. You are horrible. Because what are you saying to yourself? You are hearing people think this is wrong. Your mind says to you, I am wrong. And from the things I have seen happen around people I know, and sometimes to me, is that shift is what makes shame so painful. Because all of a sudden, you are looking at yourself, you are saying to yourself, I am wrong. But the thing is, you are not even wrong. There is nothing shameful about you, because sometimes some of these people that are in our lives, especially adults, are the ones who have the shame, are the ones who their life is the way their life is, and they want to teach children all of these things from childhood. Before you know, you are always shameful. You are not able to dress the way you want to dress, express yourself. Sometimes, even when it comes to intimacy, like sex and things like this, if you are a woman and you are dating a man, the man is not able to satisfy you or do the things that you like in bed, you won't be able to tell them, because if you tell them, you are a loose woman. You are shameful. Do you not have shame? You are loose. You are a prostitute. You are spoiled. You are not something that is admirable or something. This is why some women sometimes they don't want to tell men the number of men they've dated before they met them, because of all of this nonsense shame within our culture and society. I'm going to use myself as an example here in regards to me being a gay Igbo man. How shame has been weaponized when people deal with me. They want it to traumatize you and at the same time humiliate you. So I have experienced so much because they feel that I'm shameful. And that is something that happens across the board because it is trauma and humiliation combined. And you experience things like bullying, rejection, abuse, public humiliation. And the thing is, when all of these things happen, if you are not someone that is extremely powerful and strong willed and understand that there's nothing wrong with you, those things can create a deep shame in you. Because what it does is it attaches pain and rejection to a part of you that is a lot deeper. That self, you begin to hate yourself. You begin to be shameful of yourself. At the deepest level, shame comes from the belief if people truly see me, they will reject me because you learned it from childhood. And the thing is, that belief, if people truly see who you are, how you do things, the things that you do that they may not accept or approve of, what that belief does for you is that it drives you into hiding, secrecy, self-criticisms, perfectionism, people pleasing. And if we look at each and every one of us, this must have happened to each and every one of us at a particular time in our lives, and even up until today. For me, I have gotten to a point where I am not ashamed anymore. I did a lot of work on myself to get rid of some of the things that I learned from childhood. I did a lot of unlearning. That's why sometimes I sing this Billy Potter song in my head. I'm not ashamed anymore. Because there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's no shame here. Because I know who I am. I know that my ancestors love me. They rock with me. I am divinely protected. My ancestors protect me. I am juicy, moisturized, hydrated, glowy, sexy, and unbothered. And that is something that took me for the longest. It took me a long way to get here, but I'm here. And I want that for you as well, because there is nothing whatsoever for you to be ashamed of. And we need to make a perfect, important distinction, because there's a lot of distinction. We have guilt, feeling guilty, and we have shame, feeling shameful. Feeling guilt is I did something wrong. Shame is there is something wrong with me. And there is nothing wrong with us. We did not do anything wrong. One thing I have realized is that a culture that is healthy, they tend to use guilt to guide behavior. But the thing is that shame attacks identity. And shame is extremely powerful. This is why it affects a lot of us, because it thrives in silence, secrecy, isolation. I mentioned this earlier. And the moment people begin to talk about their experiences openly, shame often loses its power because the person realizes, I am not the one. And I'm not going to be the second. I am not the person for you to be doing all of these things. In many African households, shame is used as a social control mechanism. I know sometimes it may not always be maliciously done, but it is consistent. It is consistent because what it does is for people and the society as a whole, it policies sexuality. It policies gender. It policies ambition. It policies deviation. What it does is that shame, they use shame to keep people in line. Look at me. I am using myself as an example a lot, and I'm going to use a lot of us LGBTQIA plus individuals as example here, because shame is what is used to humiliate you, to keep you in line, for you not to live your life. They want you to bend yourself backwards because of shame. And the thing is, if you are a queer person that is extremely bold, flamboyant, living your life, they want to break you because you are not ashamed of who you are. And because you are not ashamed of who you are, it is a massive problem for them. Shame has a structure. And that structure involves a few pillars. And that pillar has religion, family, respectability politics, and silence. And what religion does, it brings in sin, it brings in hell, it brings in moral purity. You have to be pure. This is when they start to frame your desire, the things you love, as something that is dangerous. And then you get into pillar 2, which is family reputation. What will people say? What will people say? This is shameful to our family. And then what happens here is, because the family can involve your community, depending on where you come from, it can be a multitude of people, a lot of people. Then all of them becomes the surveillance. They become your CCTV camera. They become your big brother. They are monitoring your spirit. They have all the monitoring spirit. They monitor everything you do. They try to make sure that you don't disgrace them. And at the end of the day, all of this nonsense doesn't have anything to do with you, but they care about their reputation. Do you know the number of times I have been told, what about our family? And even strangers have said this to me. Are your family proud of you? And I do not understand why. And this whole thing about respectability, they will tell you. That is when I was saying something about the comparison between me and some of my relatives. They want you to appear stable, appear successful, appear straight, act straight, do all of these things. That's why they say things like keeping up appearances. Have you not known people who, when you know them personally, and they will be struggling from heaven to back, from the sky to the ground? Their life is in chaos. They don't have anything, but they will be keeping appearances, acting like everything is stable, like they are successful and things like this. And then you will see some gay men who, because of shame, they will try as much as possible to appear straight. They wouldn't want to do things that will make people suspect that they are gay. You know, it's crazy. Then you get to silence. Don't you ever discuss sex. This is why when you talk about your sexual liberation, people be like, oh my God, you're so shameful. I host TikTok lives sometimes. And when we talk about certain things, you will see how people don't want to talk about certain things about themselves, because now people are seeing you that you are loose, that you are a prostitute when you discuss sex and the things you've done during sex and what you like in the bedroom and things like this. It is horrible. Then don't discuss trauma. Do not discuss your trauma. Don't tell us how you feel mentally. We don't want to hear about it. It never happened. Never ever discuss your mental health. Because if you do that, you are weak. You are not a man. You are not man enough or whatever. Or they will tell you that this is something that we don't deal with here. It doesn't happen here. And the thing is, when you combine all of these 4 pillars, you don't just create a culture, you create a massive pressure. And you know what happens? We LGBTQIA plus Africans feel that pressure intensely. We are the collateral damage of all of this, because we are the one that everyone forgets about our humanity, that nobody cares about. We are the one that experience all of this, like fire, like the hellfire that they promise us. And I have said to myself that this will never ever be our portion, ever. Let's talk about history here. Colonial systems didn't invent shame, but what they did is institutionalize it. They institutionalized it. That Victorian morality that came to Africa, they amplified sexual repression. They did, because it brought shame with it. Missionary education moralized the body. That is why people will say things like, do you not respect your body? Why do you have to do that? You are taught in churches and things like this. Even Catholic Church at one point, I think they still do that. They teach you abstinence and things like this. And what has happened is that over time, over generations in Africa, that moral framework is now fused with our cultural identity. Now, shame is now defended as tradition. But the truth of the matter is, tradition evolves. And what doesn't evolve becomes control. And that is what is happening to us today. That is why when you look at religion, you look at it as a tool of control. It is used to control people, to fall in line, to never question things, to always respect your leaders in the church, your elders, never question anything, never use your brain, never critically think. Just believe whatever you are told and give some of them your money. And a lot of these have massive psychological consequences. What does a extremely prolonged shame do? It creates anxiety, hypervigilance, code switching, self-silencing, internalized homophobia. You become an architect of your own suppression. You monitor your tone, your walk, your language, your relationships. Shame becomes that massive internal CCTV, internal surveillance. And the most Dangerous prison is the one you build inside of you, because all of these things is now internalized. You are fighting within yourself. Shame continues to happen because it works. It keeps hierarchy intact. It keeps gender roles rigid. It keeps elders unquestioned. It creates obedience without a visible force. And communities often mistake obedience for harmony. I was saying this to somebody the other day. I said I don't want my children to be scared of me if I have a child. I want them to respect me, and I will do the same for them. I want them to be able to come to me. Sometimes when people have children and their children are scared of them, they mistake that fear for respect. But your children actually are not respectful of you because you are a horrible parent. They are just scared of you. They are fearful of you. That is not respect. Because if a child respects you, whether you are there or not, they will still do the right thing that you taught them. But when a child is scared of you, they won't do those things that you don't want to do, want them to do when you are there. I will give you an example. When I was at University of Maiduguri, there's a particular girl. She has 2 boxes, one for going back home, one for school. Because she feared her parents, she will take the clothes she wears at home and she has her university clothes that are sexy and not like provocative, but like very, very nice clothes and stuff. Because if she wears them at home, her parents will beat her and cut her off and not give her money. That is not respect to me. That is you being afraid of your parents, what they will do to you and things like this, but you are leading a double life. And we don't want that for you. Let's look at how shame can be dismantled with awareness and language. If you name the shame, it will reduce its power. Therapy and community. Because when you go to therapy and you have a community, it will help you to begin to heal. Because the reason why therapy and community is important is that shame thrives in isolation. If you are in isolation, you will continue to be shameful because you don't know what is going on. You are not speaking to anybody and things like this. Shame weakens in safe spaces. And another thing is we need to redefine what is honorable. To us, for you, for me, and for each and every one of us. Being honorable and having honor doesn't mean conformity. I am not conforming to anything and I am still honorable. Honor can mean integrity. You can love your culture and reject its harmful mechanisms. That is what I call maturity. I am not conforming, but I love my culture. I love my people. I respect where I come from. I respect that I'm an African man. I respect that I'm an Igbo man. I respect the Nigerian culture, the Ghanaian culture, the Cameroonian culture, the South African culture, all the African culture. I respect them, but I'm not going to conform. That is what I call maturity and emotional maturity. And you need to do that for yourself. To each and every one of us, if you were taught that you are an embarrassment, I want to let you know that there is nothing embarrassing about you. You are not an embarrassment. If you were told that your identity dishonors your family, that is a massive lie. That narrative was constructed by them. What you did was you inherited a building, an architecture, a whatever they want to call it, that you did not design. But you are never ever allowed to renovate that building, to make changes to yourself. And you have the right to do so from today. You are allowed to tear down what suffocates you. Get a hammer, tear it down into pieces. Let it crumble. Let it fucking crumble. I am looking at Africa at the moment and I'm thinking to myself, our shame is built. And I am going to tell you, anything built can be rebuilt. Will we keep reinforcing the structure or will we redesign it for freedom? That is what you need to ask yourself. For me, freedom, 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 freedom. We are going to redesign it for freedom because we are free. We are born free. There is no feeling like being free, and we are free. We are going to be free from shame. If this episode resonated with you, share it to your friends, share it to everyone, because healing doesn't start with silence. It starts with understanding everything and understanding yourself. I want to let you know that you are not a mistake. You are not a taboo. You are not a phase. You are born this way. You are wonderful the way you are. There is nothing wrong with you. You are unique. You are the light. And I want you to always remember this. Let love always lead the way. Love is love. I have been Charles. Okay. This has been Igbo Queer and Unfiltered Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining the movement for visibility and truth and representation. Until next time, stay aware, stay moisturized, stay glowy, stay hydrated, and don't carry what was constructed to contain you, because you are not in a box. You are a free soul. Have a wonderful time. See you in the next episode.